Hello, beautiful souls. I am Valeria Maritza at Healing Through You. I am an infinite being of light, and so are you. Today, the guys want me to talk about the subtle messages, the subtle ways in which you receive the messages from beyond this three-dimensional reality. Because it is so important to be able to recognize that these thoughts, ideas, things that just drop in are actually the messages coming through the other side. And when I talk about the other side, I'm talking about your guides, the creator, your higher self, anyone who has your back, anyone that is connecting with you at a much higher frequency and guiding you through the paths that are best fitted for your life. And so when we receive these messages, they are so subtle, guys, incredibly subtle. We are looking for, when we haven't tuned into this, when we haven't had the support of learning how this happens, when we don't know if we even have the gift or if we even have the connection, we are looking for the fireworks. We are looking for the big seeing, feeling, hearing things, just like they show you on the movies, right? It's not like that. It's very, very subtle. And the reason it's subtle is because it has been with you all of your life. So that gut feeling, that feeling of like, don't turn that corner, take the next bus or the next train, go this way instead of that way, put your money on this this path that you want to do and instead of the other. These are all the things that are being guided to you, given to you as little nuggets of information from your higher self or the creator or your guides, the angels, right? And it's in that subtle feeling that it feels like it's nothing. And I'm really emphasizing this, that it really feels like it's nothing. Like maybe you just made it up, which is the thought, right? But those are the actual messages. The way that you can begin to notice this is by getting the message, whether it is a thought that you had, seeing the triple numbers somewhere like the clock, right? Like 111, 333, 444, right? Those things. And then noticing if, number one, you see it again, you hear it again, or someone else is mentioning it. That's your confirmation. So a lot of us call it synchronicities because they are. It's a synchronistic thing, right? If you see 444 and let's say you've mentioned to somebody, oh, I've been seeing these repeating numbers, and somebody's like, oh yeah, me too, I saw 444, I saw 444. That's your confirmation, right? It is not just coincidence that it's happening to other people as well. It's your confirmation that it actually is something. The other thing is, if you receive a message and then you hear it somewhere else or you see it someone else, that's your confirmation. So I'm going to give you a little story here that they're asking me to share. When I first started on my journey, I would get the messages. They're so subtle. Like, I'm really telling you, they're so subtle. And what happens is that I would receive the message and then I would go and look at other people's lives or other people's messages, because I was just like looking and scrolling and following whatever. And then I would notice that the same exact message that I had received, this other person was talking about. I would have this incredible contraction of my energy of feeling like, oh no, they just said this. And now I feel as if my message is not my message because I just heard it from this person and I didn't put it out there yet. And so now I have this whole thing, is called the imposter syndrome, that you feel as if you're copying from somebody else. Even though I had heard the message first, I just didn't take action on sharing it. And now here I am hearing it again. That's the confirmation that it's an energy. Because when you receive a message, when we all receive a message, some type of energy, some type of energy that's going around, meaning that this is the energy that's moving through. For example, there was the miracle energy. The miracle energy was going through, and I would see lots of different healers and people talking about the miracle frequency. and they were all unrelated, but they were all talking about the same thing, and I was catching them all at the same time. That's a frequency, it's an energy that moves around and is being given to a lot of people at the same time, which is why I kept seeing the repetition, right? So when I would see this, I would contract and I would feel like, oh, now I can't share my message. And maybe that was the message, maybe it wasn't, I don't know. I was just all confused. I began to trust into what I was receiving. And the way I began to do this is to receive the message and just immediately share it, right? So this morning, actually, I received a message about being intentional. Being intentional with your thoughts, intentional with what you're putting your attention to, right? Quieting your mind with intentionality, breathing intentionally, and finding the answers inside of you intentionally. That was the exact message. I'm just reading it off my Facebook post. So I posted this because it came through and it was very clear. And I was like, yeah, it's all about intention. And a couple hours later, I was listening to somebody who had done a live a couple of days before, and I hadn't gotten a chance to see it, and I see it, and in the middle of it, this person's talking about intention. And I was like, oh, yes, that's exactly what I received, and I already posted about this. And now I have that knowledge that, hey, it's an energy. Of course, other people are going to be talking about it, because the energies, the frequencies, the messages are given to a lot of people at the same time, because the guys are like, okay, this is what would be beneficial for the collective to work on, or to lean onto, or to trust, or to do more of, right? Something. And so they give the same frequency information or message to a lot of people, because only a small percentage of those people who are receiving the messages are going to actually share it. Most of us are going to just, like I used to be before I started doing this work, receive it and keep it to myself and not share it and not tell anyone else, and just think it was a thought or an idea, and that was it. I didn't do anything else with it. Or other people who might be at the beginning of the journey, like I was when I started, would question it. Is that my thought? Was that a thing? Then you will notice it elsewhere, and you'll be like, oh, that's exactly what I was thinking, right? If this is happening to you, this is your cue to put them together, to acknowledge it, and to say, oh, this is what I was thinking, and now I see it here, here, and there. Therefore, it wasn't just me thinking it. This was actually a message that I was receiving, acknowledging it. As soon as you give acknowledgement to this, what happens is that you begin to weave your relationship with your guides or your higher self to receive more information and to become more clear in how you receive. And then the next time you receive something, then you're more conscious about it, and you're like, I got this. This is pretty wise. I don't know if this would have come out of just me, the human me. Perhaps this is a message, right? Then perhaps you see it again somewhere else, or you hear it from somebody else, and that's your confirmation. It is. It's an energy. I received it just as well as that other person. This is why when you hear messages, let's say from people that you might follow, let's say Esther Hicks, and you're listening to something that she's transmitting, and you are totally getting it. Like, it makes total sense, and it just falls in your being as a truth right away. It's because you already had that information within you. You already knew the information, and now hearing it from someone else gives you the confirmation, and you're able to lean onto it as a truth without questioning yourself. This is why we have so many people out there who are doing the work, sharing the work. It is to connect with those who are not yet there. So as soon as we hear the message and it makes sense to us, then we make it true for us. But it only becomes true for us because we already knew it. It's just that we were not trusting it. We were not leaning into it, and we didn't believe it because it was just in our heads, quote unquote. When you hear it from someone else, then you give yourself permission to believe in it, and then it expands you. Then it lands for you. Wow. That was That was really deep, guys. I'm just like wowing myself here as I'm hearing the message. I am transmitting as I speak. So a lot of times this stuff is just coming through, and then I'm like, wow, like I hear it for the first time as well. Just as you're hearing right now, I'm hearing it for the first time. So yeah, right? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that so deep? Pay attention to whatever it is that you're thinking or feeling when you have a thought or an idea or a feeling that feels like bigger than you, that feels like, wow, that was deep, or oh yeah, that makes so much sense, or that was so wise, right? Something that makes really good sense and makes you feel good, light, not heavy and down. Something that makes you feel good, like, wow, that was pretty amazing, that makes me feel good, that feels aligned with me, that feels as a truth for me. And then notice how else you hear or you get the same message again. That's your confirmation that that subtle thought or idea that came into your mind was actually a message from other realms, from higher beings of light, from your guides, from the Creator. That's how it works. And because we have had this gifts and this connection all of our lives, it feels to us as it's very, very subtle. It's not all like fireworks and huge vibrant visions or loud noises or ringing in the ears, although some of us might still get those things as well, but for most of us it's not. For most of us it's very subtle because we have had them all of our lives. And so it's not something drastically different that yesterday you were sleeping and today you're awake and therefore now you're receiving in a grand way. No. When you awake, when you become awoken and you become aware of what's happening, the other realms, what else is out here, it feels very subtle because you've had it all along, and now you're just beginning to recognize that that little whisper that you've had all along is actually your connection. Okay? I am just going to leave it at that because this is huge. The guys are asking us to listen to this again. They're asking me to listen to this again after I post it, after I send it out there, because there's so much depth and wisdom on this. It's really something to be listened to a couple times so that it really lands until it feels integrated within your body and soul. All right, guys, this has been amazing. Please like the show if you like it, subscribe to it, and share with anybody that you feel might benefit from the messages that are coming through here. And I also want to talk to you a little bit before I go about the crystalline connection, which is an 8-week immersion with me, where we get to work every single week, remove blocks, heal deeply, and begin to really lean into this trust of being able to figure out exactly what it is that we're feeling and hone into our own gifts. Right? So this is a really amazing place to be. I received this download on this program December 21st. They told me that this is the time to do it, to share this. It is an extremely packed, like fully packed journey where we get to see each other every single week. We do the work right there on the live, and you get to go deep into your knowing so that you can really begin to figure out who you are, what it is, how you receive, and then use your gifts. It's going to be amazing, guys. If you're feeling called for this, send me a message or anything, or look it up through my website. It is called the Crystalline Connection, and you can read a little bit more about it there. And if you have any questions, just send me a message. Okay, guys, I love you so much. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.